Who am I? Who are you? And who are we as a people and a society? And what do we stand for and represent? At a time when we as individuals and collectively as a society are contemplating, reflecting, and re-examining what the true meaning of life should be, the theme of this TED Talk, People Change People, could not have been more suitable. Personal branding and how we use it as a force for social good is the theme of my talk. Personal branding as a subject, as a practice, is becoming increasingly popular and mainstream. It is arguably most popular and trending topic in our public discourse today, as well as on social media platforms such as LinkedIn. For some people, personal branding is an exercise in egotism. For other people, they have carved out a successful career to advise and guide and inspire people to build compelling personal brands. Other people have used personal branding to make themselves more attractive to employers. And for entrepreneurs, they have used their personal brands to attract investors to contribute towards their entrepreneurial ventures. However, I very strongly believe that we need to repurpose what personal branding should entail. I believe each and every one of us has it in us as people to inspire and motivate, and more importantly, use our personal brands as a force for social good. I was born and raised in the Gambia. The Gambia is the smallest country in mainland Africa. It is also a male-dominated society where boys are expected to look up to their fathers as role models. For me, my mother was my hero. My mother was my role model, while my mother was a constant source of inspiration to me. My mother passed in 2016. But the values and the virtues she has inculcated in me, I still hold very dearly. I can remember growing up as a young man back home in the Gambia. I will often sit with my mother in the living room, and she will narrate and share very important life lessons with me, some of which I can share and relate today, to this day. She will often say to me, "My son, true success is making other people successful. My son, if you happen to be very successful tomorrow and you live in a mansion, make sure that your neighbors have food to eat." My mother used to say to me that, "Do a career that not only gives you personal fulfillment, but also allows you to touch on the lives of other people." These virtues and values that my mother inculcated in me are immensely profound. They are ever constant in my psyche. They shape the person I am today. And more importantly, they shape my worldview. Even though my mother is not here anymore, I very strongly believe that the best way to honor her memory is to live and exemplify the virtues that she has ingrained and inculcated in me. This made me also question my purpose in life. It made me realize and ask the question, what should be my identity? And what kind of legacy do I want to create? So in 2014, I made a conscious and deliberate life-changing decision to leave the corporate world and transition into the world of education. My work in industry for an international company was challenging yet very rewarding, and the compensation financially was quite good. But one thing was missing in my life, which was a deep sense of personal fulfillment. And that is very important. Working in education allows me to live the ideals and the values that my mother taught me. Because in education, I got to share and care, build success in the lives of other people. And these were the same values that my mother ingrained in me. I also believe that personal branding needs to be repurposed. And for me, it means focusing on three very important yet interconnected aspects. One, I think our personal brand should signify our purpose in this world. I also believe that our personal brand should represent the values that are very important to us. And I also believe that our personal brands should be used to make impact in the lives of other people. And working in education allows me to live these ideals and values that are very dear to me. I believe that in my work as an educator, I am able to live these ideals in 4 ways. One is to teach. Teach because I believe sharing knowledge is the greatest gift one human being can give to another one. Teaching and sharing knowledge is also transformative in making and developing not only my students, who I consider to be students of today, are the future leaders of tomorrow. So by extension, we contribute towards the betterment of our society by teaching the students of today. I also believe very much that teaching, knowledge not shared is knowledge wasted. For me, teaching is not about a job that brings home the paycheck at the end of every month. Rather, I believe it's a profession that I was put in this world to do. And I do it with such passion, such intensity, and such sincerity that it feels like a spiritual calling. Education is the greatest weapon we have today to change the lives of people and the world that we live in today. Working in education also allows me to live the values of love. And when I say love here, it's not only about showing affection to my students. In fact, it transcends beyond that. Love in education means knowing your students as individuals, making yourself approachable, and be open so that they feel confident and comfortable to come and share with you not only their success stories, but their challenges, the issues they have that can impede on their education. We need to realize that in education, and for the students that we serve, it's such an immense responsibility. Because what the students are saying to us is, we entrust you with our futures. And that is a heavy responsibility, but yet very rewarding. So in my work, it's about forming relationships with students, being open, being kind, being empathetic, but most importantly, helping them find solutions to the problems that they face. And for me, what love means is, in practice, I'm going to share some stories with you. When I was the Associate Dean in London in 2016, I met a boy called Zaid from Palestine. And when he came to study with us in London, his mother came to live with him. This is because Zaid was a special needs student. So the plan was for him to live with the mother throughout his study. After 2 weeks, I asked the mother to come and speak with me. And during our meeting, I proposed to her, go home, leave Zaid with us. We know as a parent you care about your kid, but at some point you have to leave them experience life on their own. After all, going to university is a journey of self-discovery for these students. This was a difficult decision for the mother, but somehow I convinced her to go back to Palestine. And for Zaid, he was a good student, but he lacked self-belief and confidence. So I engaged him and said, Zaid, come talk to me. And during our meeting, I said to him, as a way of helping him overcome his lack of confidence and self-belief, I said, I'm going to task you, Zaid, to form a club. The club will be called the Arab Society. As you know, we have student societies and clubs from different parts of the world. You know, we have BRASA, the African Society. So I said to him, form the Arab Society. And the ask is simple. Bring together all the students from the Arab world, organize a conference or a seminar, invite the Palestinian ambassador in London as a guest speaker. This was daunting for Zaid, but with the right encouragement, he pulled it off. And I can still remember to this day the joy and happiness on his face after he has helped make this happen. Zaid went on to graduate, and today he's a senior category manager for Unilever in Palestine. Love for my students also remind me the case of Alfredo, whom I met when I was the dean in San Francisco. I used to teach late in the night, and often on my way home, on the ground floor when I'm going home, the library was on the right, and there was a glass transparent door, and I could always see him sitting in the library. One day on my way home, I engaged him in a talk, and I said to him, well, I commend you for taking time to devote yourself to your studies by staying so late. This was when he opened up to me and said, I am homeless. I had a disagreement with my girlfriend, and he asked me to leave the apartment. I was sleeping on campus. This was very touching. That same night, from my own resources, I helped him stay in a hotel. And I said to him, come see me tomorrow because we have to get your parents involved. Talked to his father, wired some money, and Pharaoh found somewhere to live. Love for my students also reminds me the case of Anil from India, who studied with us and who is still a current student. I can remember in my classes that he will always sit at the back of the class, and often he was missing classes. Again, as professors, our job is not just to impart knowledge to our students, but to be mindful and to be cognizant of what is going on in our classrooms. I asked him to come see me, only to discover that for this young man, this was his first time away from home, and adapting to a new country and a new culture was extremely difficult for him. In essence, he was homesick. I did introduce him to other Indian students, and together they were able to integrate him better into the campus community. What we do as professors and educators is not only taking our students by their hand, it's not only opening doors and encouraging and motivating them to come in by themselves, but also it's opening their minds and touching their hearts. The next pillar of what I think our personal brand should exemplify as educators is to inspire our students. Inspiration is important. Inspiring our students means inculcating in them the belief that impossible is nothing, that they can always go on to achieve their personal and professional aspirations if they are committed, if they are dedicated, and if they have a growth mindset. One way that I use to inspire my students is to invite my former students as guest speakers in my classes. Some professors do invite professionals from industry. That is great. But for me, it's always deliberate to invite my former students to speak to my current students. A name that comes to mind is a former student of mine from Dominican Republic called Vera. Vera is what I call a model student in every respect. She studied with me in London. It so happened that one of my former students was working as a manager for a brand called Ralph Lauren in London. She reached out to me and said, I'm looking for a marketing intern. Can you recommend one of your students? So I recommended Vera to do her summer internship with Ralph Lauren. She made such a good impression that the internship was converted into a full-time job. And Vera is a typical guest speaker I will invite to my class. And the message I want to send to my current students is simple. If Vera from Dominican Republic can do it, there's nothing stopping you from to achieve what Vera has achieved. And then the final aspect of what I think should be part of our personal brands, especially in the field of education, is to show gratitude. Too often in life, we don't take the time to reflect and appreciate the work we do. I very strongly believe that in the field of education, guiding students, supporting them, seeing them grow, flourish, go on to achieve success, that is deeply gratifying. No amount of money, no amount of compensation can replace the feeling of achievement and gratification, because in the sense that for each of these students who go on to be great in their careers, in our little ways as educators, we have helped make them get to that destination. And that is immensely gratifying and priceless. In the work we do, true success is not measured by our bank balances. In the work I do as an educator, true success is not measured by the titles that we hold in our jobs. But rather, in the work we do as education, true success True success is measured by the positive impact we make in the lives of our students. I will close by quoting the late American poet, Maya Angelou, who once said that people might forget what you said. She went on to say that people might even forget what you have done for them. But people will never forget how you make them feel. And in our work, we bring dreams into reality. That is what our work and our brand and our identity as educators should be all about. The extent to which we touch on, inspire, motivate, and help our students achieve their personal and professional aspirations. I will close by saying this. You now know who I am. Who are you? What is your personal brand? And how do you intend to use your personal brand as a force for social good by touching on, by inspiring, by motivating, and helping other people become successful? Thank you.